Welcome to the Solo Grind, where we shine a light on the raw and real journey of being a solo entrepreneur. I am Teresa, your guide on this adventure of going it alone, without a safety net and without the rule book. The grind is real, my friend, and so are the wins, the freedom, and the joy of building success on your own terms. I'm here to debunk the myths, share some laughs, and share what it takes to thrive as a go-getter, busy, doing it all entrepreneur. Hello and welcome back to the Solo Grind. This is season 2, episode 3, and I'm your host, Teresa Shaloop, the original caffeine creative. And my whole goal in life, at least in business, is to provide solid branding, website design, and digital marketing to confident female entrepreneurs in service-based industries. And in a more layman's term way, I love helping people shine online. I love helping people find the brand that really truly is genuine and authentic to them, a website that beautifully represents what they are putting out into the world, and digital marketing that helps them show up in the most genuine and authentic way once again. Because let's face it, if we're not showing up in a genuine, authentic way, our business isn't going to grow. It may grow for a little bit for a short time, but it is not sustaining, because the only thing that is sustaining when it comes to your life is the real you. So that is me. To those of you joining me for the very first time, welcome. I am so excited that you are here. And for those of you returning who tune in each and every week, thank you so much. I never want you to forget how much I appreciate you and how much you honor me by tuning into this podcast. I am excited to dive into today's topic because this whole month of January, we have been talking about goals and dreams and creating a life on purpose, creating a life with intention and really focused on what we want to have our life to be, instead of reacting to the life that is tossed at us. Because believe it or not, we do have a choice. We get to decide what our life is going to look like. And when we don't make that decision, we're still making a choice. We're just simply choosing to react to whatever life throws our way. That doesn't mean we won't get curveballs, but it does mean we have the power to decide how we show up in the world and how we are going to present ourselves to everyone around us. And that's what we've been focusing on all month long. So, in our first episode, we talked about goals, dreams. What do we want 2025 to look like? What do we want to create? What kind of life do we want to purposefully and intentionally create for ourselves? And then last week in episode 2, we got a little bit of clarity. We dug deeper and we really tuned into what those dream big goals are for us this year. And just as a quick little refresher, dream big goals don't have to be something that happen on a national or international level. They can be something as simple as ending your workday by 6 o'clock so that you have an evening to disconnect, recharge, and connect with your family. Or it could be something huge, like expanding a podcast into the video realm and making it a bigger splash than it was in season 1. That is the goal I am focusing on this year. And if you're tuning into YouTube, you're actually going to get to see me up close and personal talking to you. To those of you who love to listen, I am on all the other podcast apps: Apple Podcast, Amazon, Spotify, anything that I can easily, quickly connect my podcast to, because I want to show up where you are. So now, today, since we've been creating those goals, focusing on our dreams, thinking about what we want to create, what is our dream big goals, today we're going to dive into momentum. How do we keep the momentum going? How do we continually move forward on our dreams? Because you and I both know that January is full of excitement. January is full of getting things done and seeing some progress and noticing the little things that are moving us forward. And then life gets messy and life throws us curveballs. And sometimes we get tired. Sometimes we push so hard and hustled so much that we're tired. And all of a sudden, those big goals that we had in January start to fade into the background. We stop looking at them every day. We stop paying attention to them every week. And next thing you know, it is the end of the year. We're facing 2026 and we did not accomplish what we wanted to accomplish in the year. So I'm here to help you change that. I am here to help you shift your mindset, and I'm here to help make sure that you actually accomplish your goals and do everything you can in your power to make them be exactly what you want them to be. And that, my friends, is momentum. So let's think about when our goals, once we get past that excitement period, the honeymoon phase of goal setting, so to speak. The excitement is starting to wear off. The real work is starting to set in, and the challenges are starting to show up. Here's the reality, my friends. Creating a life of intention purposefully and really striving to create big goals is messy. It's messy, it's chaotic, and it is sometimes a struggle. But you don't have to embrace the struggle. You don't have to stay in the struggle. You don't have to settle in and be up, embrace the painfulness of the struggle and the mess and the chaos and all the things. You actually get to continue moving forward. And I'm going to share with you 3 things to help boost your momentum and keep moving forward when the messy happens. And actually, I want you to consider doing these even when the messy doesn't happen. This is something, what I'm going to share with you, I want you to do. I want you to schedule it. I want it to be a regular occurrence in your life because there are reasons to do it regularly. But I also want you to prepare yourself for when the mess happens, when the chaos happens, when the curveball comes your way and things are trying to knock you off course. These little tips are going to help keep you moving forward. So, what I'm going to share with you actually is the 3 tips is the 3 R's. That is reflect, reprioritize, and recharge. And let's talk about what those look like as you're building momentum. So, let's talk about first when just to doing these regularly. So reflecting on a regular basis. Now, I tend to do my reflection on Sundays, sometimes Monday mornings. I like to do it at the start of a week. I have some friends who prefer to do it monthly. That works too. Whatever works best for you, I want you to have this weird hair sticking out. Whatever works best for you, I want you to schedule it, put it on your calendar, and find time to sit back and reflect on what you've done, what you've accomplished, and where you're going. And there's a couple reasons why I want you to do this. For one, honestly, it's good just to be able to check some things off. It feels good. You feel the progress more intensely when you take a moment to pay attention to it. And that in itself is going to help build momentum. But also, I want you to celebrate your wins, the little wins. I want you to celebrate, whether it is drinking sparkling water out of a glass or going for a walk on a hike that you've been wanting to do for a while. I don't care. Whatever it is, go to a spa day. I want you to celebrate all of your wins, little, medium, big, whatever the case is. I want you to celebrate them. And you aren't going to celebrate them if you don't take time to reflect. As entrepreneurs, we are go-getters, we are perfectionists, and we are always looking for the next thing to accomplish. But when we pause and take a moment to reflect what we've already done, we realize we're a lot further ahead than we thought. And we're ready to move forward even more because we have more excitement underneath our wings. So, pausing and reflecting is the first of the 3 R's. And it's something, again, I want you to do on a regular basis. I also want you to do it on a regular basis because when you make it a habit, you are going to be in a position to do this when mess happens, when the chaos happens, when the curveball comes. You are going to be in the habit of pausing and reflecting. And this is when reflection is really super important to take a moment. You're in the mess. Things aren't working the way you thought they would. You have technical difficulties, or you had some unexpected events that are pulling you out of your goals. Whatever the case is, it could be little, it could be big. It doesn't matter. It's still going to happen, and it still deserves a moment of reflection. In that moment of reflection, you have the power to either focus on momentum in the best possible way by taking the next logical step for you, and only you can determine what that is, Or you can ignore the reflection. You can wallow in what's going on. You can sit there and say, why does this always happen to me? You can fall into that victim mentality and stay stuck. Okay. True reflection doesn't stay stuck. It takes a look at what is going on and it says, that's not what I want it to be. And it has forward movement taking you to the next step. And again, when you make a point to reflect and celebrate what you've already accomplished and where things are at as a habit, a continual thing you do on a regular basis, it's easier to pause and reflect when life gets in the way. All right. So that is our first R for today's episode. Now I want to talk about the second R, and that is reprioritizing. Again, reprioritizing goes hand in hand with reflection, and it's something that I want you to do regularly. And I'll give you a good example. So last week I was recording my second episode. It was the first episode that I was adding video. I was trying some new software, and I had kittens in the house that were misbehaving. They're actually in the house, and I'm almost afraid to say this. I hope that they continue to behave. But there was just problem after problem after problem last week. My plan at the end of last week was to finish recording January so that I could get everything done, because I put a lot into my episodes. It's not just a record, upload, and move on. I make sure I have show notes and images and all the things that go with it. And I was adding video to the mix. So this was a pretty big task, but I wanted to get multiple episodes recorded so that I knew that they were done and out there and available when I want them to be. And so also I could focus on some projects, some other projects that I had going on this week. That was my goal last week. It didn't happen. Okay. Last week, I spent the entire day on Friday recording episode 2 of the Solo Grind. And finally, at the end of the day, got a successful recording done. I was tired, I was exhausted, and I was done for the day. So with that being said, as I'm doing my reflection this past weekend, I realized that things that I wanted to accomplish last week had to get moved over to this week. Okay. So that means in order to get through this week, I had to reprioritize some of the things that I had on my list. Okay. Yes, my client work is very important to me because I want to serve my clients with excellence. And yes, my marketing is very important to me. All of those things are very important to me. But I also have a goal and a promise to myself to expand and build on this podcast. And that is important to me. So I had to reprioritize my week in order to make everything fit. Was it a big deal? Was I a failure? Absolutely not. It's just part of keeping that momentum going. Yes, I could have spent the weekend mad and cranky and angry and trying to force things to happen, or I could have just moved on with my life and just reprioritized and continued focusing on my goals. And that's what I did. All right. And that actually brings me to the third R. So, real quick recap. The first 2 R's in a momentum boosting is reflection and reprioritizing. Okay. The last one is recharging, and that is a powerful one. And that is one that most of us don't give ourselves enough time to do. We don't sit back and take a break. We don't step away when things get stressful. We push through, we hustle, we embrace the struggle and try and force things to happen. And honestly, the more that we embrace that struggle, the more that we force things to happen, the more challenges that we have and the more difficult it becomes. I am not exaggerating when I say I am able to accomplish 2 to 3 times more by working less hours than I used to do a long time ago. I've shared this before. I am definitely a recovering workaholic. I had this idea that I had to be available all the time, always pushing, always hustling, always struggling, always making things better. I wanted to be irreplaceable. I remember thinking that one time that in an early position that I wanted to be so accomplished that I was irreplaceable, that nobody could replace me. And then it happened and I was irreplaceable in a position for a while. And I got to tell you, boys and girls, that sucks. When nobody else can step up and do your job, you never get a day off. You never get a moment off. You never get time to yourself. That is not the kind of legacy that you want to live, I'm guessing, because there's so much more rich, rewarding aspects of life than being available at work. And that's what I had done. So when I was this workaholic, it was not uncommon for me to work a 60, 70, sometimes 80-hour weeks. I was up early in the morning. I would stay up late. I was constantly working, 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 working. Even when I was driving, oh my God, see, I promised she's going to behave. For those of you in audio, Athena has just jumped up on my shoulder again, and we're going to keep going because we're hoping she's going to behave. Okay. But as that workaholic, I gave and gave and gave and gave till I had nothing left to give. And then I had to try and continue giving because I never paused to recharge. Recharging is so vital. At the end of last week, I was exhausted when I had this rough day of technical difficulties and kitten difficulties. But instead of trying to push through or work through the weekend or anything else, I recharged. I stepped away. I ended my day when I needed to. I took the time to relax over the weekend. My husband and I had a date night. We went out with some very good friends of ours, went out to dinner with my sister-in-law and her husband. We worked on some home improvement projects. We played with our kittens. I mean, we had a fabulous weekend. And come Monday, even though I had to reprioritize projects to this week that I had hoped to be done with, I was able to get so much more done. I was able to accomplish all the things that I needed to do and then some. So, once again, let's talk about those momentum boosters. Okay. We've got the 3 R's: reflect, reprioritize, and recharge. When you can make these things a regular part of your life, and I say daily if you possibly can, but for sure try and start off at least monthly or weekly. When you can bring those into your life, you will be amazed at what you can actually accomplish and get done. The last thing that I want to talk about here, when it comes to building momentum and maintaining that momentum, is to protect your energy. It is so easy to give our energy to people who don't get it, to trying to get them to get it, trying to get them to understand us. It's easy to give our energy to toxicity, to drama, to the ugliness in the world, to the fear mindset that is shoved in our face all over the place. It's real easy to get sucked into those things even when our best intention is not to. It's so easy to do because it's all around us. We're taught to focus on the stress and the drama and the struggle. I mean, it's ingrained in us, but yet it doesn't do us any good. So if you take anything at all away from this episode, this is the one thing I absolutely want you to do, and that is to protect your energy. I want you to surround yourself with people who are very supportive and encouraging, even if they don't get it, even if they don't understand it. My husband hardly understands my goals. He hardly understands what I'm trying to accomplish. That doesn't stop him from being incredibly supportive and loving and kind to me. So again, only people who are supportive, even when they don't understand you. Spend time and energy on things that uplift you. If, like, for example, I don't watch the news at all. I haven't watched the news since 1997. Maybe like a little snippet here or there if I had a friend on or something like that, but I don't watch the news because the news is focused on fear, and it's not focused, in my opinion, on what is very real in this world. Yes, those things are real and I don't want to diminish them, but there are so many amazing, wonderful, good things in this world that our news doesn't talk about. And I want to know about the good things. I also only listen to books, podcasts, music that uplift me and make me feel successful. I mean, I have whole playlists created to help me feel or, release stress or feel excited or energized or whatever the case is. I also only watch things that help me feel really good. You know, I only keep the things that are in my inner circle are there by intention. Anyone that is disruptive to that inner circle, or anything that is disruptive to that inner circle, is pushed out, because I'm going to protect my energy at all costs. And this includes family members. You've heard me talk about my family members. I absolutely love my family. I love who they are, and I don't want them to change. But sometimes when that drama and toxicity starts to come up, I have to love certain family members at a distance for a little bit. I have to say, I'm sorry, but you can't be in my inner circle, because I'm protecting my energy. And maybe I don't tell them directly. They don't even know I'm thinking that sometimes, but I'm always going to say it. So, that, my friends, is this episode. I am so excited you guys joined me here. We have so many good things coming up here in the next couple weeks. I've pre-recorded a couple of interviews I'm excited to share with you guys. And I even have a special birthday episode coming up, which you'll learn more about here very soon. So be sure to continue following me and tuning in each and every week. I love joining you guys here. And also give some love here to our little Athena. She behaved. Good girl. She behaved for the end of this episode, so I'm so proud of her. She's come a long way. She's a very, very rambunctious kitty. Oh, here she comes. All right, I will say goodbye, and I will see you all in the following weeks. Have a great week ahead. Thanks for tuning in to the Solo Grind. I hope this episode brought you some inspiration and encouragement. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, and feel free to share. For more tips and insights, visit caffeinecreative.io to check out my blog or explore the Creative Vault, my free course library. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to hear how this episode has helped you.